All rise. Veuillez vous lever. Please be seated. Veuillez vous asseoir.
Your Honor, we are in open session.
Thank you very much. Mr. Mofada, you have some updates?
Indeed, Your Honor, and just to provide the Chamber with the updates as regards the batting order of witnesses that I referred to this morning, in order to accommodate the difficulties with 356 proceeding after the next two witnesses, we've managed to liaise with the VWU, and it appears that witnesses 487 and 535 are able to be substituted for 536. The difficulty that arises to some extent is that we anticipate that the first of those, 487, might start testifying. Of course, it depends on how matters progress with the other witnesses, but might start testifying round about the 21st or the 22nd of October. The estimates, this includes the examination in chief and cross-examination by my learned friends for the defense, that might take an additional 2 or 3 days, so in total 4 days for each. What it does then is it leaves us probably with a gap of 2 days at the end of the current sitting session. What we have done is we've also determined that witness 268 should be available, but the testimony is likely to exceed those 2 days. So the difficulty, therefore, is we might run into some unused court time that we are unable to fill. Yes, Your Honor. Of course, given the latitude as well, that the two witnesses might actually exceed 4 days. They might go into 5 days. I'm unable to say at this time. But that's the provision we've made in the interim. Your Honors, and I believe when I was talking about the witness that we're substituting, I might have misspoken and said 536, so it was 356 that I was referring to.
And this you've discussed with counsel on the opposite side, and if we proceeded as you've indicated, everybody will be happy. It's for the bench then to worry what we do about the possibility of 2 days unused.
Your Honor, I've taken the liberty of speaking to both counsel, both teams opposite, and also to the legal representatives for victims. I understand that none of these are currently dual status witnesses. As for the defense teams, the indication I have is that this is amenable to them.
And Your Honour, it would be remiss of me if I didn't extend my sincere thanks to my learned friend, Mr. Omafadi, and the prosecution for accommodating the interests of the defence and rearranging their witnesses.
That's the spirit. That's the spirit we encourage.
I'm grateful.
Mr. Keegan-Cartwell.
On our part, we are also grateful to Mr. Omafada and the prosecution. Mr. President, the last witness, 268, would place us in the same difficulty we would have had with the other witness, and we would very much hope and pray that we don't get to reach him, because he is not amongst the first witnesses, and we were not quite prepared to deal with him. Mr. President and Your Honors, this is underlined by the fact that that witness was not amongst the first 10. Mr. President, that is the only difficulty we have. We otherwise are okay with the other 4 witnesses. The prosecution are already ready to present.
You are not entirely then in agreement with the prosecutor's proposed solution?
Only in respect to the last witness, Mr. President, and it's because of the extent to which he mentions my client, and which we had not expected to be in this block of the trial.
Mr. Mofade?
Your Honor, as I suggested, the last witness, we're attempting as far as possible to move this case forward. And in order to fill court time, we think, and what we've tried to do, is to work our way down the list of witnesses. So it's all right for Mr. Katwa to talk about the first 10 witnesses, but we've moved on from there. We've substituted witnesses and proceeded down the list. And this witness on the original list that was provided, we have as number 19. So we've moved a number of witnesses up and substituted, and there's adequate time, really, for both defense teams to prepare for this if we have to call this witness within this session.
All right. Well, it seems that at this stage there appears to be substantial agreement between both sides. Maybe need perhaps for continuing discussion as regards witness 268 and what, if anything, could be done to accommodate the concerns of Mr. Kigen Katwa, also in line with the difficulty we have that we are trying to resolve. Some flexibility will be called for in the matter. From all
Thank you,
sides.
Mr. President.
Thank you. We will now regrettably go back into closed session to continue, rather a private session to continue with a discussion concerning the witness now on the stand. Before we bring in the witness, court officer, we're not bringing in the witness yet, but we go into private session to discuss how to proceed with the rest of this witness's testimony in cross-examination.